I am so glad you are here. I'm Liz from Magus Books and Herbs here in Minneapolis, and it is alive, our Wednesday show. I know, guest free only because there was a miscommunication between them and where they were before they were going to be here, and they're not going to be able to make it, sadly. I did give them a link to remote in if they're able to, but I don't know if they will be here or not. They had not responded to my last email, 2 emails. But in any event, I want to tell you about some exciting things. First, what's going to be coming up here? I want to let you know there's going to be a big change to the Cyprian the Mage magic, ceremonial magic class. That is being moved to a different Sunday. It won't be the third Sunday of the month. Instead, it will be the first Sunday of November. So if you're really looking forward to that, and I think it's going to be a great class, then I think you want to mark your calendars. It's now November 2nd. Now, later that month, we get our next installment of Chaos Magic by the same instructor. So both of those classes are being taught by our tarot reader, Ravenwolf, and coming up later in the year, he will be doing a class called Ethics and the Craft. We do have a book called Ethics and the Craft. It's actually a pretty interesting read. It really does get into the history of some of where the concepts might have come from, how far back can they be traced. And it's great that someone took a decade of their life to figure this stuff out before those greatest generation and boomer generation folks are not here anymore to tell us at least their recollection of how it all started and how it worked out for them. So I'm very happy that he is doing that class. It's a class I asked him to do so that I wouldn't be doing it. I love doing the classes, but I have so many that, I'm so thrilled that he's willing to take that on. We will be doing, though, the rest of our stuff as normal. I have been promoting occasionally Adam's astrology class. That will be starting up again in November on a Saturday. I believe it's the third Saturday of the month at, I think it's 3 p.m. I wrote all this down, but in my flurry of panic, because we're trying to get the guest in, I don't know where I set my little cheat sheet down. So regardless, though, those are big ones coming up. This beautiful event is happening next month as well. It should be a ton of fun. This is Amris Abner. He's coming out with his first book. You might know him by another name because he has been here and been interviewed before for some beautiful things he makes related to this subject. But he will be here Friday the 11th, it is? Yes. No, 10th. Friday, October 10th at 3 p.m. How late we stay is entirely up to you guys. If he plays any music, totally up to him and you guys, but I think we're going to have a blast that Friday. So come down, check it out. Congratulate him on that first book. I think it's very cool. He got it done. His whole goal with the things he has made and this book is to make ceremonial magic really, really accessible for everyone who wants to even dabble in it or see if it's the right fit for them. And I think there's always been a bit of a academic barrier to joining in ceremonial magic. There is this, you must have the right tools, you must memorize the things, and his work is a lot more forgiving than that. So if you just want to check it out, this is some things I'm going to show you in a minute. And just to give you an example of the things he has made, let me pull this little baby out. He has done a full set of the various Solomonic pentacles. So this, for example, there we go, is the third pentacle of the moon. Ooh, I don't want it to gleam quite so brightly. And that is a hand. I know it's hard to see. And the activator is also on it, which isn't normal and is a big bonus in my opinion. And so I think these are fantastic. As well as these beautiful altar plates and divination boards. So there we go. This one I think is especially fun because it doesn't matter if you're doing Solomonic magic, it doesn't matter if you're doing Celtic magic, but you understand the system and want to embrace it or are learning it and want to try it out and even eclectically mixing the two. Yeah, I say go for it because these 3 empty spots are for you to place representations that would key into the phrase by the authority and power of, and these 3 spots are for through the intercession of. So this is what's going to command the situation. You're going to call on like the highest deities maybe who deal with this stuff. And then if there are some lesser little gods that are suitable to do the work, you put them here. I just think that's adorable and lovely. And like I said, in addition to the altar plates, he's got talking boards, spirit boards, things like that. So this is an Enochian talking board. He's got some beautiful pendulum plates. I grabbed this one, mostly because it was easy. But this is one of his. And just to give you an idea of the detail of some of his work, look at this baby. Is this not gorgeous? Now I'm going to pull it way in so you can see just a piece of it. You'll see there's the sigil there for that particular entity. And then in fine print, so fine, in fact, I can't see it on the camera. Maybe you guys can. The name and then what it does. So is one of these guys, and that's who you would work with. And so this is a way of communicating with all of these entities to do things like help me invent and design like a genius. Who doesn't want that? But each one of these has that name and explanation. There are others. This is just what I grabbed to carry in because my arms were full once I grabbed these. So delightful human being, really proactive in trying to get folks to really embrace ceremonial magic for the better, for the betterment of themselves, their friends, their family, their community, the world at large. Oh yeah, what am I drinking today? Gosh, I made this yesterday and left it to re-steep overnight. This is ashwagandha and eleuthero and a little faux tea, or hisho wu. I don't know why it was called faux tea for so long in Western herbalism, but it was. But it's hisho wu normally in Chinese medicine, and we're slowly I'm seeing that come into the Western. That's what I'm wearing. Nobody today. Just being panicking, trying to get links to the nice man who's supposed to be the guest today. Poor guy got waylaid. So it's fun stuff. And we've gone over some of the events coming up. I do have some other things event-wise I want to tell you about. Chris's palmistry class will, of course, be the 4th, which this time is the last Sunday of the month. I think it's at 4. Before that, we have a Reiki share that I love participating in. I think it's wonderful. We'll have, who else is still coming up? Because it's so late in the month. In the first Sunday of next month, we'll have the Gateways to the Gods class. So if you want to play with one of our more adult and theogenic herbs, you're welcome to do that. We give a little talk about the mythology, the history, the tech. And then while you sip, if you would like, a free sample. And then we take a break and then come back and go on a guided meditation that we talk about. It's a fun class. Class will be starting up on the 3rd Saturday of the month next month. That'll, I think, is scheduled to start at 3. He's always great with it. It's always a fun class. That's Adam, our resident astrological expert, and his knowledge is deep and profound, and he's gone in many different directions with it. But he brings it home for people who are just starting out and really helps them with those basics. So it's a fun series. It'll be starting up again next month. Palmistry will be continuing. Tarot Lab will be on the 2nd Sunday of the month. Of course, Saturday, October 10th, we have the book event. And next November, we're going to be having a trunk show of Jerry's Imports. So Jerry has worked with us for many, many, many years. She is delightful, but she has retired. And she brought over what she still had from her import business to us. And at our last location, there was a lot of it all over the place. Not really, there's still a lot of it hanging out on the store floor, but we just can't fit as much as we used to be able to. So the selection is diminished. So we're going to combat that with a trunk show here in our gallery classroom, which I hope is finished in a gallery by then. But either way, we're going to have things that you might want to come grab because you love them or because you know people who would love them. And I believe it's November 11th. Get an early start on that holiday shopping with bags, purses, scarves, jewelry, hair accessories, those little bobble creatures, we'll have more of those out, the little critters, all kinds of fun stuff that she does. Totally worth checking out. This room will be lined in her things with the things she offers. I'm so looking forward to you guys actually being able to see all of the mittens, the different weights of scarves. There are nice heavyweight scarves in the collection that are beautiful and that you might want to wear during the winter, as well as some of the lighter ones that we have on the floor right now that are more suited to spring and summer if you just want a little decorative scarf. I've worn a lot of them on the lives. I'm sure you've seen them. Just totally recommend that. Looking forward to it. I will be here that day for that. I'll also be here, by the way, on October 10th for the book signing. Looking forward to a nice party there. So come on down and party with us for that one. In the meantime, I thought I would show off some of the stuff we have beyond Emrys's beautiful pieces. The calendars have already started. Believe it or not, I've got calendars for you. So we have the Magical Moon calendar. We've got the Paolo Barbieri's Dragon calendar again. So if you've been a fan of that one, that's worth seeing. The famous Astrological. And by the way, there's new packaging on these. You gotta love this. They're sealed. You can't open this. You have to go by the thumbnails that are here on the back of the whole thing. So, and that's going to be true for all of these. If tarot is more your bag, we got you. We got the tarot calendar. Or maybe you just want to feel empowered as a woman. Wild Woman Rising. These are fantastic. I'm going to show you those because I like them. And we've had several people pick up already. Actually, a number of these we've sold a bunch of, but Magical Mystical Cats. How do you resist the cute kittens in the moonlight? And of course, Alchemy, 1977. This year's theme is Court of the Black Rose. So beautiful stuff. And along with those, of course, we've gotten some of the annuals in. So we've got the Moon Sign book, and we've got, this one's upside down, the Sun Sign book. Gotta have one, gotta have the other, right? The bound astrological pocket planner for next year. I'm sold out of the spiral. I will be ordering more. We'll definitely get there. There's one person in particular who wiped me out from the last order. Hi out there if you're watching. Sabbath's Almanac. Delightful lady, by the way, who picked those up. The Witch's Companion. So with these guys, if it is an almanac or the sun sign book or like this one, this isn't a calendar per se, but it is a series of articles that you really might get a kick out of reading throughout the year. So if you're not a big reader, but you'd still want to like learn a few bits and bobs, this is great because you just take it at a slower pace. You're not trying to cram the book down or anything. We also have the Magical Almanac as well. So the ones that will have dates, like where you can write stuff in, tend to be spiral bound. This hardcover one, or this softcover, but this bound one does have that, but it's a little smaller than the spiral bound ones, which are usually about this size, just to give you an idea. So all kinds of fun date things. They're right as you walk in the store. It's the very first bookcase that you're confronted with. So you can't miss them really. And there's a calendar right on top of it. And some of these little almanacs are right on top of it. Help you find it really easily and quickly. So hopefully you all enjoy those. So far, I'm ordering them every single week. So I know folks are out there loving these. And I've got a couple special orders for a few of the other ones as well. So we'll get in. Oh, what did they get? I can't remember. It's one we hadn't had in yet, though. I hadn't had time to get it in to the system so I could get it into the shop. And these lovely ladies are getting 3. So in they come. I'll be getting 4 when I put the order in later this week. We'll probably get the order of books in sometime next week. Might even try to do it today just because I'm leaving town for a few days. Does this mean the lives will stop? No. This does not mean the lives will stop. Why? If you watch carefully, and if you watch every week, you might have already noticed this. Some of the lives, they're called lives in the system we use, the platform we use to broadcast, to simulcast, to Kick and Facebook and YouTube. It's called a live because it's called going live. even if it's pre-recorded. So you may notice that I wear the same stuff on Sunday that I do on Thursday. On Sunday, when we're doing things like energy work and Reiki and other healing modalities in that vein, I will be wearing the same outfit that I will be wearing later that week doing Herby Thursday. I will have the same outfit on for the Monday meditation that I have on for Stoned on Friday. And I will have the same outfit on for Magical Tuesday that I have on for Divine Saturday. So I canned in the latter part of the week while I'm here, so you guys get the lighting and the background. It's all consistent. It's beautiful. Love it. And then I get to not come in 7 days a week. I hope you're not shocked that I don't do that. I'm generally here for about 35 hours over the course of 4 days. And then I do some work from home, which is really useful. I love being up on the floor, but up on the floor, I'm going to work in words or phrases because people have questions and need help. And that's what we're here for. And I love that. If I'm working downstairs so that only the staff is going to interrupt my work, I can think in whole sentences and they'll tell me I'm needed upstairs or that somebody's calling for me, whatever the deal is. And that's great. But if I want to think in paragraphs, I kind of do it. I got to do it at home. So I give myself about a half a day to work on the more long range plans and work on things that require just a little more complex thought than I might be able to get to if I'm on the store floor. Because again, the fun part of being on the store floor is talking to you guys, helping all of you folks out, whether it's answering questions, ringing you up, just chatting about your day, telling you look fantastic. Good God, we had the best looking people in yesterday. I got to tell you, coolest outfits, the rainbow crochet over the frogs dressed in, I think rainbow overalls. I don't remember. Fantastic outfit. Loved that. And gosh, some of her friends had some of the best outfits as well. They were just totally dressed to the nines for the kind of stuff they were doing that day. Fabulous crowd. There was a woman in earlier yesterday. We had the best time chatting. I just loved her. And she was so outgoing, so friendly. I just love being up there whenever I can be. In fact, I like it so much, I tend to call the work I have to do behind the scenes the ornery work. And it's stuff like making sure the taxes are getting paid and the utilities are good and everything else is golden. And oh, what about that vending event that we're going to do? Have we registered or we planned for it? Am I getting the right stuff in? All of that. Oh, thinking of that, I totally forgot, you guys. There is a business on our block, on our side of Central Avenue, right on just south of us, called Recovery Bike Shop. We love Recovery Bike Shop. We almost moved into half of their space. Really, 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 really tempted by it. Just, it wasn't quite big enough for us. The floor space would have been great, but there would have been zero ability to process mail order or store anything off the store floor. It just, unfortunately, it didn't work for us. Delightful couple owns the building and Recovery Bike Shop. Highly encourage you to check them out, especially if you're looking for a bike. They donate bikes to other continents, for pity's sake. Really nice folks, really ethical business people from what I can see. And their manager came over and asked if we would do a seance in their shop. And guess what? We are. So Liz and I know I'm Liz, but we have another Liz, and Liz is wonderful. She started as a reader here, and now she is, for all intents and purposes, the assistant manager of the store. Love her to pieces. And I would describe her to you, but it wouldn't sound different than me, a woman of a certain age with dark curly hair that is often worn up. She's a little white chick. She's skinnier and shorter than me. There's not a lot of difference between how we would be described, even though we'd look nothing alike. But her name is Liz. My name is Liz. And we are going to do a seance experience in Recovery Bike Shop in October. So looking forward to it. I think they've got a pretty low ticket price on it for what it is, and they'll be providing, it sounds like, some snacks and beverages as part of the process. So hyped for that, even though it's not, I totally whiffed it when I was talking about events coming up because it's not here. So it's not on my calendar list in that way. Oh, they're really fabulous place. And we're pretty confident that there's some friendly creatures floating around in there who will want to come and chat and play. So It should be a blast. Go to Recovery Bike Shop, contact them about getting tickets for it if you're interested. They were talking about a price point somewhere one side or the other of about $40, which is really good for a seance. What I see in the area is like 45 to like 130 for a seance, somewhere in that range is what I tend to see. So this should be loads of fun. We both have experience in this, and I'm letting Liz, not me, the other Liz, take the lead. And I will be doing what is sometimes called a lot of the tailoring work or protective magical work while we're in the space, to set the space, to make sure everybody's safe. I'm kind of going to be the guardian angel, if you will, kind of looking over the whole thing. I will help her out whenever and wherever I need to. But it is definitely part of my background and experience of if somebody goes off to distant ethereal realms, that I can pull them right back effectively. So, and marking boundaries, doing that kind of stuff is something I've always seemed to have a talent for. So my focus will be there. She is going to be offering, and we'll be running through this, but she and I are going to be offering a couple ways of accessing, communicating with spirits. And we've rejected a couple as well. We were talking about one process that I don't think is as effective anymore. I think it could easily be real. I don't doubt it. And it's one you see in Hollywood movies, and that is the flickering candle flame. You light a candle and you see if it flickers. And my honest thought about that is we are in very tightly sealed buildings now. So when I think for when that was popular is one, candles were the standard lighting for most folks. We might have been just phasing out of candlelight when this was still being used. And in that era, those buildings were drafty compared to now. The insulation was nothing like it is today. It was nowhere near as good. And so the idea that a spirit could get the wind to go through a house and flicker a candle just seems far more likely to me than today, where that spirit could be doing exactly the same work and just not seeing the results because the wind can't get into the house enough to flicker the candle enough. It just seems impractical to me, unless you're assuming the candle's flickering for a different energetic reason. I'm going to say the easiest thing that I can think of to do, and I bet it's the easiest thing a ghost can think to do, is push a breeze from outside that's already happening into the house, or encouraging that breeze to occur that will go through the house and make the candle light flicker, right? So we're talking about, 150 years ago and what buildings were like then. Even this building, which was built in that era, has been updated, improved. We just don't get the kind of drafts they did. So anyway, we're shelving. We're not doing that one. I just don't think it's a practical choice, but we will be having several other options. And yeah, we're looking forward to working together on it. It's going to be a blast. So go to Recovery Bike Shop, check out what they're offering. Don't know if they've got the package together yet, but they will soon. So totally stoked about that. And that manager, beautiful photographer, does very specialized photography. We're going to be having some of his stuff in, possibly for a showing here in this room soon. I will keep you updated. Cross your fingers for that, because he does this like blue lithograph stuff that's gorgeous. Oh, my goodness. I've just gone on and on about this stuff. I can't believe it's already 11:38 in my world right now. But we should get to a topic, because that's what I do when we don't have a guest, is special topics. So I was listening to someone rant online recently about, is your pet your familiar? And we have a slightly contentious relationship, I suppose, with some pet owners, because we ourselves have someone here who's allergic severely to dogs in two different ways. So if your animal's not a service animal, we really can't have it in the store. We can't host it in the store, because we have to take into account that person's health needs just as much as we might have to take in your health needs. If you have a legitimate service animal, of course we welcome you. You need the animal. But if it's an emotional support animal, we're legally required to counterbalance that need against the need of the person who will stop breathing because the animal is in the building. So this is why we have a sign on the door about service animals only. And all of our staff have been trained, and probably need to be retrained periodically on the two questions that we are legally allowed to ask us determine if your service animal is in fact a service animal and not an emotional support animal or a pet or what have you. So if you have a service animal and you're not aware that we're allowed to ask those two questions, you may want to look those up and check out what they are. But she was talking about, is your pet your familiar? And she got kind of grumpy because she does, the old crone. And she mentioned that her familiar is not her pet. Her familiar is invisible. It's an entity that she knows well, that lives in the house with them, that she converses with. I mean, she's spot on about this is an entity that can help her with magical things specifically. And that's why she considers that her familiar, but not the animal she lives with. And she's lived with plenty of animals. None of them have ever been her familiars, at least from what I recall from her podcast. And the reason for that, from her perspective, as I understand it, is that those animals are not magically milking the neighbor's cow and filling her fridge with milk overnight, which, if you look back historically, that's what familiars did for you. They did very real physical things that improved your life. They performed magic for you. Not you can have a conversation with them and they have a 30 or 100 word vocabulary because they're a particularly smart cat or dog, but because it apparently went out and hunted not for mice, but for things you truly needed and provided you with them. And that's an interesting take, because I know a lot of people who talk about their pets as their familiars. And certainly when I have had a pet, I have been familiar with it, but they've never been my familiars. I had a wonderful cat companion for many, many, many years, gorgeous cat. Went out hunting every night. We had this wonderful relationship. Never my familiar. So I kind of take her point, really. Let me know what you think. Is it enough to call it a familiar if it's just your pet and you have an emotional bond with each other? I mean, and we can bond with a lot of things. I mean, I saw a YouTube short not too long ago, maybe originally a TikTok short. I just saw it on YouTube, about a guy who raised a baby octopus and then set it free, and they meet up on a regular basis. So clearly the octopus is bonded to him, not just the human anthropomorphizing the octopus. And I think that's a really special and important bond, but I don't think it makes the octopus the guy's familiar. So let me know what you think. Is that emotional bond enough? Does that count? Or is that an over broadening of the definition of what a familiar is, which is what the person I was watching on YouTube was talking about. So I'm not sure how I would feel about that if I had a pet today, but I think I would agree with her. I think I would go with, yeah, pet, not familiar. Family member, not familiar. And I've definitely had some familiars in my day, but none of them have been corporeal. And they've helped. And they're hugely helpful. I recommend cultivating a relationship with a familiar should you stumble across one on the physical plane or on the spiritual. Either way works fine. Could it all be gobbledygook? Ooh, somebody's going. Yeah, it could all be gobbledygook. They're calling during the live. Naughty. It could all be gobbledygook. Does it help my brain stay centered on my goals and my tasks and getting things I need? Yeah, it does. Is that beneficial? Yes, it is. So do I care if this is measurable or provable? No, I do not. I really do not. It's difficult to quantify and measure a lot of these things. So a lot of them are going to be based on your own experience, your own self-validation. I hate to say it, but I do think that Wicca, ceremonial magic, paganism, witchcraft, they all ask for self-validation more than some other religions. We can, and I've seen it happen, where groups of people decide that their validation will be external to some sort of leader in these communities, but it's relatively rare in my experience. Absolutely seen it happen more than once. Relatively rare. And I think that is because these experiences are just that. They're personal. And you really should not, in my opinion, let someone else define for you what they mean. So if you're adamantly opposed to my view that maybe your pet that you love and who loves you is not your familiar because it doesn't do specific, observable, magical things, not that you see them do them, but that you see the results, disagree to your heart's content. Why? Because I'm not here to validate you. You are here to validate you. I give you the power of self-validation. Go forth and know thyself, right? That's magic. That's know thyself is an age-old phrase from ancient pagan times that we still repeat because it's still valid and it's still valuable. So disagree. Let me know if you disagree because I'm interested to see why and what you actually think about this subject. Oh, more buzzing from the phone. Okay. But in the meantime, enjoy your pets, regardless of whether or not they are your actual familiars or just creatures you're familiar with. Well, that's my little piece, my little rant for the day. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, all of you. We're going to close up just a little bit early so that we can get about our days. I'm looking forward to next week. The special guest next week is a local author whose book we're bringing in. His books, he's got 2 books and a deck of cards. They're not reading cards. They're motivational cards is what I would call them. He'll be in. He should be really interesting to speak with. He does a lot of work in the recovery field, and his books are focused on that kind of subject matter. Even the cards are focused on that. I think there's 30 of them or 28 of them. I think it's 30. And they're themed on apples. So it's a good apple, a positive apple a day as you go through the deck to improve who you are as a person and possibly also get through the difficulties of recovery, the recovery phase in addiction. And we all know those recoveries are never fully complete. You might always struggle. So having a physical tool like a workbook or a deck can be really valuable. But even if you're not in recovery, as I flipped through those Apple cards, they're good. They would help anybody. So stay tuned next week come back for next week for that talk. And in the meantime, of course, how do I end it always? I'm Liz here at Magus Books in Minneapolis, 2520 Central Avenue Northeast, and online at magusbooks.com. On behalf of myself and all of the rest of the staff, including Liz, who I hear in the background, so I know Liz is here now, I want to thank you all for being your magical selves, doing all the magical things that you do to make your life, the lives of those around you, and let's face it, the whole world a better place to be. And of course, we appreciate it when you do the magical things that you can do right here that are free for you to do and help us so much. The likes, the subscribes, the shares, the comments, all of the things. In the meantime, I really hope you have a wonderful week.